Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Sunday, May 1st, the Man Beast, Rhino, returns to Memphis Wrestling to go one-on-one with the 387-pound K-Tuber. Do not miss this epic battle. Get your tickets right now at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. May 8th is our next free watch party at Dave & Buster's in Memphis. Watch WWE WrestleMania Backlash with us. It's free. Plus, we'll give you a free power card. May 29th is huge. Not only is our next live TV taping then, but it's also our next AEW watch party at Dave & Buster's. When Memphis Wrestling is finished, head over to Dave & Buster's to watch AEW Double or Nothing absolutely free. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling is on tour with the following events. That's right, they return to Doniphan, Missouri, April 30th for Clash on the Current Tube. That's the Doniphan High School, 5 Ballpark Road. For ticket information, call 573-776-3548. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. It is a hostile takeover on May 7th, Luxor, Arkansas, at the Charles Strong Center. For ticket information, call 636-232-3313. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. American Hostile Championship Wrestling on tour will include Rude, Chris Hayes, Trent Daniels, Jason Vaughn, The Young Goats, Denzel Rollins, The Posse, Derek the King, Mark Southern Jr., Big Jack Parker, Justin Case, Austin the Reaper Bolo, the LA Hustlers, Cookie St. James, Brett Michaels the Gun Show, Van Vicious, and many, many more. Memphis Wrestling and American Hostile Championship Wrestling superstars. Follow American Hostile Championship Wrestling on Facebook by searching American Hostile Championship Wrestling. Cards are subject to change. Hey, just a quick reminder, subscribe for $5, $7, or $10 at www.patreon.com/Shooting the Shiznit without a G. That's right, Shooting the Shiznit without a G. This episode is also brought to you by SpunkLube.com. Remember, when you're getting funky like a monkey, if you know what I mean, use Spunky. That's right. Go to www.spunklube.com and tell them STS Pod sent you. We can all help prevent suicide. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, and also prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones. Call 1-800-273-8255.
Okay, we're rolling in the Memphis. Rolling into Memphis. a D, cause you got nothing else to do.
And you're now tuned in to another episode of Rolling Into Memphis with your hosts, BT and Rhino JD. Roll on.
What happens when someone sends you a box of cassettes from the 1990s? You put them on as a podcast. Sit back and take a trip to the past for Cassette Wrestling News. Stone Cold Steve Austin called this the first ever podcast. These cassettes were mailed every issue to subscribers during the heyday of wrestling fanzines. Jeff Osborne, John Cena, sit down and put out an episode of zany, fun, and sometimes serious stuff. Get ready to dive 30 plus years into the past.
All right, back with Jeff Osborne here in Cassette Wrestling News, episode 3. Jeff, episode 3 is, well, it looks like what happened is you sent me these tapes. Some of them's unlabeled, are not labeled. So what I'm doing is just going through. So they're not going to be in order. Episode 3, best I can figure out, is 1990. Episode 19, and John Seaton and you are all over the episode, talking about all kinds of things. Then you have guys like Terrence Garvin, Billy Joe Travis, guys like that. Were you recording there at Evansville? I guess you're just sitting down in the back or something. Even Dustin Rhodes is there talking about winning Rookie of the Year. This is a typical episode. What do you remember about, all the guys in Evansville, they were all, these interviews were not shoot interviews. Okay.
Exactly.
These were all big time worked interviews, and even Lawler's on this episode. Tell me how it was okay for you to do that. Is if they stayed in character and everything?
It was not okay. They did that on their own. And I think, at that time, Jerry Lawler was heavily hated the sheets and heavily protected the business. It probably one of the last territories to protect the business to that level. And I would just go up and here's the secret, man, is those guys absolutely love Cassette Wrestling News. They could not wait to get a copy of it. So every week, not every week, but once a month or however.
Right.
They would love to get it, and they would listen to it on the road. They could kill an hour or an hour and a half listening to goofy wrestling stuff, or new. We did a little bit of everything: comedy, news, sets, and whatever. But they loved it. So I would ask them to do interviews, and we're all talking off the record, this and that, and all of a sudden, as soon as I clicked record, it was back on TV mode. I mean, it was all cake. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch, man. I thought I was going to get opinions of this or that, but they're, straight in character, never strayed away.
I just thought it was really weird. Even Lawler was, talking about he would never entertain an offer from the WWE. I found that just hilarious. But it was all in. And there's a famous interview, famous to me and you too, where Jury just, and we don't know whether it's in this bundle. There's 35 tapes. Who knows if it's in them or not? But he just rakes me over the coals. I hope it's on there, so we'll have something else to talk about. But Jury was one of those guys that would talk to me in the dressing rooms. But, if he was in front of people, he never would say anything, out of character.
Right. I ran into that a lot. You're talking about the times in Evansville where they were drawn from maybe 200 to 400 people, and it was the dying days of Memphis, the territory in Evansville. I can't remember the last year they ran Evansville as that, USWA or whatever, and I can't remember the exact ending of the Jerry Lawler era at the Coliseum, but I mean, it went on forever.
It's they talk about on Jeff Jarrett's podcast, USWA and everything was the last territory, and I guess you could say that it really was the last territory, and then got some life there with some of the developmentals that they did get, and then that was the end. All right, guys, sit back. I think this episode 19 this is kind of what every episode is about, and every once in a while he does have a special interview. 1990, I believe this is episode 19.
Congratulations on 1989 Rookie of the Year, Dustin Rhodes.
Very much.
How's your father doing in the World Wrestling Federation?
He's doing better than I am. He's making a lot of money.
Really is. Would you like to say anything to the people out there who voted you Rookie of the Year?
Well, just thank you very much for your support, and I'm going to try to be as good to the fans as my father has, and try to, whenever I say something to you people out there, just to believe me and believe in me, and I'll do the best I can.
Thank you very much.
Back in your ringside seat, and we'll bring the matches to you. Hello, I'm John Seaton.
I'm Jeff Osborne.
Welcome to Cassette Wrestling News, issue 19. The big year in spectacular, Jeff.
First, before we get to them awards, John, let's talk.
Neil, how's your chest?
I'll tell you something, Randy.
3 weeks, and he lost to lose weight pound, John. What do you have to say about this?
Was this when he was first into the area, Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, they brought him in probably as a test kind of talent. They didn't like him, so they sent him packing.
All right, Jeff. All right, John. You want to do that? I don't know.
White bud.
He bad.
I wouldn't even compare it to Glow. Glow is a much better organization than this crap. If you want my opinion, John, this wrestling sucks, and it's degrading to women, and it's just downplayed.
This is Jeff Osborne reporting for Cassette Wrestling News. How you doing, Jeff? Well, Jeff, I'm doing fine. How about you?
To watch it.
Huh?
This was at.
This is Jeff Osborne and John Seaton here again with Cassette Wrestling News. We have Terrence Garvin. Nice to see you, Terrence.
Thank you. It's beautiful, Terrence Garvin, by the way.
All right, beautiful Terrence Garvin. I understand, John, you have some questions for Terrence.
Yes, I do, Jeff. I'd like to ask Mr. Garvin, how long have you been wrestling professionally?
Well, I guess you could say most of my adult life. I really don't want to tell you how old I am or get into years or anything like that, if you please. I just as soon keep my age and everything about my age kind of to myself.
All right, that's understandable, but growing up, what wrestlers did you admire?
Well, of course, I admired my family, Ronnie and Jimmy Garvin. That's who I admire. Who do you think I'd admire? I was a little bit young for Gorgeous George, but I think he was beautiful. And I watched some of the old tapes of George, and I just love what he did. He was such a flamboyant and such a character that I admire him still today, but of course I admire my older brother, Jimmy Garvin.
So that's how you broke into professional wrestling, due to your relationship with the Garvins?
Well, when you grow up around it, it's kind of hard not to be in it. Yes, that's how I broke into it.
Now, we watched the USWA coming out of the Sportatorium. Is there any friction between you and Mark Lawrence, who you announced with?
Well, Mark Lawrence is pretty much a total idiot. Most of the people that are from Texas are idiots, as far as that goes. I'm from San Francisco myself, where real men are men. But Mark Lawrence, he thinks he's a good TV commentator, and when I was out there doing the color, I'm the one that made the ratings go up. Mark Lawrence had nothing to do with that. As far as I'm concerned, he's very boring, and he's no friend of mine.
Well, he sure seems that way, but all right. Whatever happened to Mark Guleen, who was half your tag team Beauty and the Beast?
Well, the Beast right now he's taking a little sabbatical. He's let's just say he's not totally mentally stable at this time. We still stay in very close touch. I still, am a legal guardian to the beast. And when it's time for him to come back into society, you may see Beauty and the Beast again somewhere down the road.
That'll be something. To conclude the interview, I'd like to ask you, what are your future plans in wrestling as far as this area goes?
As far as this area goes, there's really, Jerry the King Lawler's my personally best friend. He and Billy Joe Travis. And Jerry Lawler's got the unified belt for the USWA. So I guess my long-range plans, my first goals, is to probably beat the tar out of Kerry Von Erich. I've never liked the Von Erichs. I make no secret about that. I think they're idiots. I think they come from a family that knows nothing about wrestling. The Von Erichs versus the Garvins, someday, Jimmy Garvin and myself may go to Texas, and we just may clean the Von Erichs up and end their reign in Texas. But I'm going to do my part. I'm going to win the Texas heavyweight belt, and I can promise you that Terrence Garvin doesn't lie.
Okay, well, we thank you for your time.
Well, I'm sure you do thank me for my time, but it's nice to talk to you guys, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
This was made for you, but if you want to watch some girls get down and wrestle, holla Wendy Richter.
March 14th, 1990, USWA, Jeff Osborne here. All right, Jeff Osborne on location again here in Evansville, Indiana with Billy Joe Travis. Billy, it's nice to have you on the show again.
Well, it's always your pleasure to have me on this show, isn't it, Jeff?
I guess you could say that. Many people saw you last week on the USWA show from the Sportatorium as you came out in boxing gloves, Billy, continually challenging Buster Douglas. Have you heard anything from him or his management?
Well, first of all, Buster Douglas, I hope you buy a cassette tape of this. You are the biggest joke in professional boxing. I have a $50,000 backer that says I can knock you out in 3 rounds. And I know I can do it. I'm a former AAU champion, so I hope you get a copy of this. And I want you to come down to Dallas, Texas, and I'll show you what Billy Travis is all about, boy.
So you've had boxing experience in the past?
Jeff, I can fight, I can sing, and I look pretty, and I'm the best thing that ever happened to professional wrestling.
You're scheduled to face Jeff Jarrett in a boxing match shortly. What will happen? Is this an attempt to get Buster Douglas's attention?
Jeff Jarrett couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. This is just a warm-up. This will probably take about a 30-second. Probably one punch, I'll knock that punk out.
What if Buster Douglas accepts your challenge? Would you face him anywhere? Dallas, Memphis, Evansville? What do you think you can take him?
I would come to his hometown, Columbus, Ohio. I wouldn't want any pay. I'd pay him so I could show the people what a joke he is to professional boxing.
Billy, many of the fans still say you were wrong about turning your back on Jeff Jarrett, but since then I've seen nothing but Billy Joe Travis headlining cards across the U.S. Do you feel you've made the right career decision here?
There's a lot of jealousy in professional wrestling. Jeff Jarrett was so jealous of my looks, my body, my singing ability, he turned his back on me. I was partners with that punk for 2 years, and I trained him practically. Oh, Billy, help me do this. Billy, I rode up and down the road with him. I made him chauffeur me around. Now I'm going to show him what professional wrestling's all about. This is the right move for Billy Joe. People, they love me. Everybody loves Billy Joe. They think they boo me, all that. They love me. You love me, don't you?
Well, I guess so. I respect your wrestling ability, but I wouldn't necessarily say that.
I am the greatest professional athlete of all time, bar none.
All right, Billy, a couple issues ago, one of our listeners suggested a potential Wrestling Hall of Fame. Other than yourself, if you could name anybody to be in this Wrestling Hall of Fame, who would you nominate to be in that?
The number one pick, Billy Travis. But there's a lot of great wrestlers that in the past that I admire. I like to watch Billy Robinson. I don't know if you remember him, Jeff, but he was one of my all-time favorites. And there's a lot. Ivan Koloff, another great one. Superstar Billy Graham, which I feel sorry for him. He's just got out of surgery in California, and I wish my best to him. But these are, right off my head, I just can't think of any. You ask me this question next week, and I'll have a list for you.
Okay, Billy. Now, this tape is going out to several NWA officials, namely Jim Ross, Jim Hurd, and Ted Turner. Is there anything that you would like to know? Maybe a job here for you.
Take notice of Billy Joe Travis, men, because I am the greatest thing that ever happened to wrestling.
All right, there you have it from Billy Joe Travis, and we hope to hear more from you next week, Billy.
I always make this show. I know I'm selling a lot of tapes, don't I? My voice. You want me to sing a little song before you go?
Well, if you want to.
We are family. I got all my brothers and sisters. Isn't that beautiful? That's all I'm going to give you today. Next week, I might sing the whole thing, Jeff.
Okay. Well, so...
Hey, one more thing. I might get my little partner out here, the beauty, Terrence Garvin. I might let him say a few words. You just hold that microphone.
Okay, Billy. Well, thanks a lot for appearing on the show again.
It's always your pleasure, isn't it, Jeff?
All right. As most of you read, I'm here with Terrence Garvin now. Terrence, I witnessed your match just moments ago, and it seemed you were doing a lot of running around trying to avoid Jeff Jarrett and Bill Dundee.
Running around. We got them down, and we beat them tonight like the dogs that they were, right, in Evansville, Indiana. Did you see me strap him? I strapped him with that belt, Dundee, and then I choked him with it. I daggone near killed him. I think they had first aid out there at ringside administering it when we walked away from the ring. We just got tired of beating him up. That was all there was to it. Right.
Well, I may have seen a different picture. Maybe I have Mark Lawrence-itis, but it seems last week that Billy said you guys do not cheat. I seem to have seen several illegal objects out there tonight.
Illegal? You do have the Mark Lawrence syndrome. You kind of look like him, except you got the longer hair. You dress a little bit worse than he does, but yeah, I think you do have Mark Lawrence syndrome, because I did not ever use a foreign object. I play by the rules. Everybody knows that I don't need to cheat. I'm one of the toughest men in wrestling when I get mad.
Okay, are you aware that Jimmy Garvin is now teaming with Steve Casey, and Michael Hayes is out with a minor injury?
Yeah, Michael's just going to be back. Steve's just filling in for Jimmy Garvin. That's all there is to it. Don't start no things about no new Freebirds. I don't think that's in the plans. Michael will be back, and Steve will probably be gone, from what I hear. But I don't know. I'm not really worried about Jimmy. I'm worried about Terry. Terry's right here, and so's Bill Dundee. And the CWA, USWA, whatever you want to call it, it's not big enough for the two of us, and I'm going to run this little guy out of town. I've heard, now this is just a rumor, okay, but I heard that in Australia they're so ashamed of him using the name Dundee that Paul Hogan guy, his next movie, he's not going to call himself Crocodile Dundee. He's going to call himself Crocodile Crookshanks. He's just going to change the name around a little bit.
Okay, well, next week I understand you're in a lumberjack match and with Dundee, and all his friends will be around the ring. Are you sort of pushing this away, or do you dread this, or what?
No, I don't. This is the matchmakers for the USWA has really pushed it too far. They've got 4 guys out there with straps, all of whom are Dundee's friends, 5-on-1. That's what it's going to be. You think if I beat him up in the ring and throw him out that they're going to strap him? No, they're not going to strap him. It's going to be 5 against 1. They're going to be trying to whip my beautiful body and put marks on it. Well, nobody whips me unless I want them to. And I promise you that come next week, it's going to be Bill Dundee who takes a beating in his life, because I'm not getting out of the ring. I'll just fight him like a man right in the middle. That's all there is to it.
All right, Terrence, a final question. I asked Billy a while ago. One of our listeners suggested a potential Wrestling Hall of Fame. Other than yourself and Jimmy and Ronnie Garvin, who would you put in this Wrestling Hall of Fame?
The first person I put in it, of course, would be Gorgeous George. He's the all-time probably greatest wrestler next to the Garvin family themselves. But I don't know. There's so many wrestlers. I'm not into old-timers that much, except for Gorgeous George himself, the one and only human orchid, the toast of the coast, the man that I admire the most in wrestling today. I would have to say that he would be the founder of the Hall of Fame of Wrestling.
Okay, thank you very much, Terrence. Can we expect to see you next week?
Sure, you can see me next week. When I'm sitting here doing this interview next week, Bill Dundee's going to be having some strap marks on him, buddy. I promise you that. We'll see you later.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tell Billy.
Are you enjoying the episode? Well, Cash App us. That's right, $BTSTS. You don't have Cash App? Download it and get $5. That's right, $5. That's $BTSTS, $BTSTS. Hey, just a quick reminder, subscribe for $5, $7, or $10 at www.patreon.com/Shooting the Shiznit without a G. That's right, Shooting the Shiznit without a G. Hey, use our Uber Eats code EATS-BRIAN-T24790UE. That's EATS-BRIAN-T24790UE. Use that code and get $20 off a $25 order. Hey, I just want to take a moment to tell you about Athletic Brewing Company. This might sound strange to some people, but ABC makes non-alcoholic brews. That's right. I like to taste the beer with my food, but not the alcohol. If you go to tiny.1/STSPod2022, that's tiny.1/STSPod2022, and try a 6-pack, use that link. If you buy a 6-pack, you get one for free. Athletic Brewing Company.
Shootin' the Shiznit is exclusively sponsored this month by spunklube.com. Spunklube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. Spunklube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. The newest addition to the Spunklube family is Spunklube Pink. The pink formula is colorful and fun to use. It's a special hybrid formula that's non-sticky and non-staining. All of their products are shipped in discreet packaging from D Enterprises. Please go to spunklube.com and order a unique, fun-to-use personal lubricant.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling is on tour with the following events. That's right, they return to Doniphan, Missouri, April 30th for Clash on the Current Tube. That's the Doniphan High School, 5 Ballpark Road. For ticket information, call 573-776-3548. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. It is a hostile takeover on May 7th, Luxor, Arkansas, at the Charles Strong Center. For ticket information, call 636-232-3313. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. American Hostile Championship Wrestling on tour will include Rude, Chris Hayes, Trent Daniels, Jason Vaughn, the Young Goats, Denzel Rollins, The Posse, Derek the King, Mark Southern Jr., Big Jag Parker, Justin Case, Austin the Reaper Bolo, the LA Hustlers, Cookie St. James, Brett Michaels the Gun Show, Van Vicious, and many, many more. Memphis Wrestling and American Hostile Championship Wrestling superstars. Be there! Follow American Hostile Championship Wrestling on Facebook by searching American Hostile Championship Wrestling. Cards are subject to change.
What is Cassette Wrestling News' Jeff Osborne doing now? Please visit Secret Headquarters in Evansville, Indiana, 4225 North 1st Ave, Evansville, Indiana, or call Jeff at 812-470-8546. From vintage toys, video games, and comics to a full retro 80s video arcade. They also have the Vinyl Destination, new and used vinyl records. Drop on in and get something to spin. Follow them on Facebook at The Secret Headquarters.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I want to see him back. But it's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to anybody except Teddy. That's who it is. Ted Turner.
Well, Mr. Blanchard, he's only 35 years old. He's got lots of years left in him for wrestling. The man is one of the original four.
All right, John. It's March 21st in 1990. We're here at, where are we? I'm driving towards the Evansville Coliseum. We'll be there in a short while, so stick around. All right. Fits the image of the four-person.
Well, as AWA World Heavyweight Champion, and I think Mr. Zbyszko will be venturing in the NWA very soon.
As I told the fans, the AWA's television contract with ESPN may not be renewed.
Due to poor ratings?
That and baseball season is coming up. And here again with Billy Joe Travis as our regular semi-host, I guess you put it. Billy, I just witnessed your boxing match with Jeff Jarrett, and it seems you were knocked out in the 4th round.
Well, I'll tell you the reason that I was knocked out, because that idiot, Eddie Marlin, handed his grandson Jeff Jarrett a steel brass knuckles, and anybody get knocked out in the 4th round or any round with brass knuckles around their hand.
Well, Billy, I think I saw a different picture. I think you were the one that brought in some brass knuckles and a chain, and I believe your gloves were loaded.
Let me tell you something, Jeff. I have never cheated anyone in my life. When I go in the ring, I go straight by the rule book. But now, I'm going to have to change my tactics. Jeff Jarrett, the next time I meet you, you better watch out, punk. I hope you buy a copy of this tape, because I'm going to destroy you and put you out of the wrestling business forever.
How about the Buster Douglas situation? Have you heard anything from him?
Yes, I have. Let me tell you idiots out there that buy this cassette, Buster Douglas called my attorney and told my attorney that he is afraid to come down there, afraid I will make a laughingstock of him. So that fight's going to be off.
All right, Billy. Want to talk about...
I think you're trying to make a joke about this.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to make a joke about anything. But after being knocked out by Jeff Jarrett tonight, do you think you can even stand a chance against Douglas?
Jeff, I told you, boy. When somebody uses brass knuckles, you're going to get knocked out.
Okay, well, enough about that. How about, you want to make a prediction for the WrestleMania, Hogan and Ultimate Warrior?
I hope they both kill each other, because both of them's idiots.
Okay, Billy, last
I can whip
time...
them both. I can whip them both with one hand tied behind me. Same time.
Okay, last time we talked about the Hall of Fame of wrestling, and you chose Billy Robinson, Billy Graham, and Ivan Koloff. Are you aware of the Billy Graham talking about the steroid use in professional wrestling?
Yes, I'm aware of that. I don't use steroids, and I have a great body. So those idiots like Jeff Jarrett, Bill Dundee, and all those idiots, the ones who use steroids, I hope they die.
Oh, those are some harsh words, Billy. Are you sure you mean that?
Yeah, I mean it. Somebody uses brass knuckles on my head, I hope they die.
All right, Billy. I believe you got an upcoming match with Kerry Von Erich for the Texas title.
Let me tell you something. If you didn't know it, Billy Joe Travis is the Texas champion. Kerry Von Erich made the rules up. Whoever walks out with the Texas title will be the Texas champion. I walked out with the Texas title. I have the Texas title now.
Okay, is Kerry Von Erich coming to the Evansville Coliseum next week, or is it official yet? I've heard rumors.
I don't think Von Erich will be here next week because he's afraid of Billy Joe Travis. But in the near future, Von Erich will challenge me for the Texas title.
All right, thank you very much, Billy. We'll see you next week.
Okay, Jeff. It's always your pleasure to have me on here.
All right. Feel of the end. Terrence, I just witnessed your match. I was just talking with Billy, and it seems you were trying to make up with Jeff Jarrett and the Southern Rockers and Mike Awesome, trying to save your butt, I guess you'd say, from being strapped. What do you have to say about this?
I say you're awful brave holding that microphone in my face and saying that. You're not a very big guy and you're not a wrestler, so watch what you say to me, okay? Now listen, there was 4 guys around that ring, all of whom I don't care for, and they don't like me, obviously. I don't know why. But it was very, very, very unfair. But I can promise you this, right now, right here, right now, sitting in this car, that come Friday night in Dallas, Texas, I've got Bill Dundee, just he and I, in the ring with a strap up on top of a pole, and I'm going to scurry up that pole like a chimpanzee monkey, and I'm going to get that weightlifting belt, and I'm going to kill him with it. He's made me mad. That's all he's done, made me mad.
So, this feud with Dundee, what is evolving from this? Is there some personal thing you have against Dundee? He had some shrewd comments towards you tonight, but...
I don't like Dundee. I've never liked Dundee. I don't think he's enough of an athlete to be a professional wrestler. I mean, come on, 5'3", 180 pounds, or 120 pounds. The guy is a little bitty shrimp. He's got a giant complex. Little man's complex is what I like to call it. He thinks he can whip everybody. He can't beat me one-on-one. He's never pinned me one-on-one. I have pinned him one-on-one before, if you'll remember back about a year ago in this territory. But he's never beat me one-on-one. He always cheats. He uses a chain. You saw him tonight. He hit me with a chain right in the middle of the ring. Boy.
Terrence, some of your comments on the last tape, we've had a couple of letters. Some people wrote in, you stated nobody beats me unless I want them to. What did you mean by that exactly?
Well, never you mind, okay? You're not one of my, what I would call, personal friends, so I don't have to get personal with you. All you are is an interviewer, so you just sit there and ask questions that these morons out here that listen to these tapes of yours can understand. Like, what's 1 + 1? That's 2 to you wrestling fans out there, you idiots. What is this? Is this an Indiana tape? Does this go just to Indiana or does it go everywhere?
Published nationally. NWA gets this, ICW, among many other wrestlers, too.
Well, the ICW, they can stay up north as far as I'm concerned. Tony Atlas is nobody's champion. The NWA, well, what can I say? My brother's there. He's a great wrestler. I love him. But this is where it's happening, right here in the USWA between Dallas, Texas and Memphis, Tennessee, and beautiful Terrence Garvin's right in the middle of it every single week. I'm going to be back. Dundee, you haven't seen the last of me. That's the end of the interview, buddy. Turn the microphone off.
Wait a minute, I got
Turn it off now. I don't want any more. You okay? Do you understand?
It was awesome at the beginning of the year, but it's...
After that Sarcade performance, his awesomeness has decreased, Jeff.
All right, wrestling fans, Jeff Osborne here at USWA Wrestling once again. It's Wednesday, May the 9th, the main event being Billy Joe Travis and Jeff Jarrett taking on the Dirty White Boys. Also, Bill Dundee defends his now defunct CWA heavyweight title, which is known as the Southern title now. He'll be defending against Brickhouse Brown. Also, lost for words. Jerry Lawler will defend his unified world heavyweight title against the Boogie Woogie Man, handsome Jimmy Valiant. All right, let's try to get an interview here, Jeff. You're a nerd, whoever pushed play on this tape. You're a nerd. Of wrestling items for sale. He's got old CWA programs, WW. Check. Right, I'm here on location in Evansville, Indiana with Jerry the King Lawler. Jerry, how have you been lately?
Well, I hopefully have been doing fine. I feel good, and matches have been going well, and everything's going okay, really.
I understand you've been wrestling for Joel Goodhart up in Philadelphia. Is there any chance of a merger going with the USWA and him?
Well, I don't think so. That was more along the lines of an independent sort of thing. Naturally, I wrestle most of the time for the USWA, but still, I'm also available for independent bookings. And Joel, of course, is a friend of mine, and he called me a while back about some matches. Any chance I have to help him out. It was a pleasure going up there. I mean, it was really a super promotion. I've wrestled on a few independent cards that haven't been all that well put together, and this was the first time I'd ever actually wrestled on one of Joel's promotions, and it was really a super card, a great crowd. Everything just went really well, so I was real pleased with it, and I think we're going to be doing another one on June the 6th up there in Philadelphia.
I heard your opponent's going to be Austin Idol. Is that true?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be against Austin Idol. Most of the wrestling fans realize what kind of feud I've had in the past with Idol, and there one time he and Tommy Rich, a couple of guys that hospitalized me, and so any chance I get to get in the ring against Idol I always look forward to it. I had an incident that took place in just this past time when I wrestled up there, where Idol was kind of taking advantage of his opponent. So I went into the ring, and I guess out of that's how this rematch stemmed from what took place in the aftermath of that match.
Have you had any offers from the NWA or WWF, or you try to stay away from those two?
Well, yeah, I know. I've never entertained any thoughts at all about going to the WWF. I mean, it's just like as far as I'm concerned, a big joke, The NWA, I've never really thought about going in there. I wish there was some sort of way that they could work more closely with some of the other organizations. But I think their problem now is that they're so obsessed with trying to emulate the WWF, and I think the best thing they could do is pretend the WWF doesn't even exist, which is what Vince McMahon does to them. Just pretend they don't even exist and go try to do the thing you can that'll do the best you can without trying to copy or without trying to better somebody else. Now I watch their shows, and it's like they're getting to be a bigger joke than the WWF with the RoboCop and stuff like that. It's like
Okay.
All right, I'm here with Billy Joe Travis. Billy, it's nice to see you back again.
Well, it's always your pleasure to have Billy Joe on wrestling radio. What's it called?
Called Cassette Wrestling News.
Well, whatever it's called, I really like it. Billy Joe's improvement to this cassette wrestling.
All right, Billy, I understand you just got back off vacation. Did you have a nice time?
Well, the reason I had to take that vacation because of that punk Jerry Lawler, that punk Terry Garvin, and those idiots, the dirty white boys, and that fat Ronnie Gossett.
All right, Billy, it's nice to see you back on the right side of the fence for a change, but it seems you're...
Wait. Everybody said, oh, Billy Joe, he's turned good. He's this, that. Billy Joe hadn't turned. He's the same old Billy Joe Travis. He's just changed opponents. And I'm going to tell you something right now. After I get through with the dirty white boys, Jerry Lawler, Garvin, you two punks are next.
Are you and Jeff Jarrett back on friendly terms now, or is it...
We are just partners. I don't like Jeff Jarrett. He don't like me. We're in this for one thing. We're going to take care of business. We're going to get rid of the dirty white boys. We already got rid of one of them. So that Gossett got another white boy. Well, soon he'll be gone. And now, that'll be Lawler and Garvin.
Alex Porto, I understand you smacked the crap out of him with that guitar. Did he receive an injury or anything?
About 25 stitches upside that head of his. And I want one person. I got me a real big guitar ordered. And that's for that big fat Ronnie Gossett.
All right, Billy. Now, there was a question that was unclear even in the observers if you did win the Texas title from Kerry Von Erich. Was that true?
Yeah, I won the title. Kerry Von Erich made the rule, whoever walks away from the ring is the Texas Heavyweight Champion, so I walked away from the ring, and I'm the champion.
All right, now, speaking of titles, what about the USWA tag team titles? You think you and Jeff Jarrett will be gunning for those anytime soon?
Well, you know, it's always everybody's dream to be a world champion. You know, it may not be Jeff Jarrett. I don't know who to be. If it is Jeff Jarrett, we'll go after the United States titles.
All right, Billy. Is there anything else you'd like to comment on this issue of Cassette Wrestling News?
Well, just one thing. I think I'm the world's greatest professional athlete, and don't you forget it.
All right, Billy. Thank you very much. If you can do another one of them IDs for me. This is Billy Travis. You're listening.
Yeah. What's a Cassette Wrestling?
Cassette Wrestling News.
Okay. What do you want me to say? This is Billy Travis, and I listen to Cassette Wrestling News, so I want you to listen to it. Something like that. Ready? Hi, I'm Billy Travis, and I listen to Cassette Wrestling News, so why don't you folks get smart and you listen to it too.
Thanks a lot. I'll get you a copy of this.
Turner thinks that's a gimmick. It's not that great of a gimmick.
If you ask me, I agree with you.
Would you rather see him or the Ultimate Warrior running through the ring, causing a frenzy, hearing thousands of fans cheer?
The thing is, Mr. Turner has the bucks necessary to get these wrestlers over to the NWA, jump ship, if you will. He's got far more monetary resources than Vince McMahon. Vince is incredibly rich, but Ted Turner is super funky like a monkey rich, you know what I mean? As Dusty would say, he's got the money. He could raid the talent of the WWF. Just, you know, wrestlers are out there to make money, and they want the big name, big money deal contracts. He could get the Ultimate Warrior. He could get Kurt Hennig. He could get Demolition. He could get all these men. True, they would have to drop their gimmicks, you know, because it's a trademark of the WWF, but still these men are athletes. These men can perform. All these men need a new gimmick, and they will perform and draw people into the NWA and make it more of a competition for the WWF.
I think Mr. Turner's first experiment with the gimmicks this year was the ding-dongs.
He evidently thought this was a cute idea.
Yeah, right. I didn't like him at all. It's not the way to approach fans.
No, this was an insult to fan intelligence.
All right, and it's going to be the battle of the NWA and the WWF this year.
The NWA is far behind. They have better quality wrestling, but the WWF has more talent, so it's interesting to see what will happen.
More theatrics.
More theatrics.
I think the NWA is going to have to resort to those tactics, but keep the wrestling good like it is. I'm not saying the WWF wrestling is bad, but sometimes the theatrics get caught up in the matches itself. But I don't know. That's a little rundown of the top promoters across the United States. Now let's go on to the next set of awards. Speaking of all the television shows, the television show of the year, John. How about that?
All right, Jeff. We have runners-up include Championship Sports, which is USWA based, NWA Championship Wrestling, which is nationally NWA based, and the NWA Power Hour, which is, of course, NWA based. And the number one TV show of the year, I don't particularly agree with this assertion, but Saturday Night's Main Event.
Saturday Night's Main Event has probably the best televised matches for free, I guess you put it.
Yes, run on NBC and on certain Saturdays, monthly. Saturday Night's Main Event does have good quality wrestling, but the theatrics, I don't know, they kind of turn me off. How about Supercards of the Year, Jeff?
Well, for the Supercards of the Year, at number 4, my pick for the Supercard of the Year, it didn't quite make it there, but it did get some votes, was Glory Days, the Great American Bash. It had War Games, it had a Battle Royal, it had everything a wrestling fan wanted. I think it should have got number 1, but it didn't.
That was a great card.
All right, and number 3 runner-up was WrestleMania 5. The top bill of this was Hogan versus Savage for the world title.
Which actually wasn't that good a match, if you want to know my opinion.
Hogan dominated, clearly. And
first runner-up is the Music City Showdown. John, why don't you tell them a little bit about that?
All right, that was highlighted by a world title match between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the champion, and Nature Boy Ric Flair. This is the historic match where Ric Flair became 6-time champion, defeating Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
There were 3 judges at ringside. One of them was Terry Funk. He came into the ring and said, "Congratulations, Rick. If it would have gone all the way, I would have voted for you." But he refused to leave the ring.
He issued a challenge to Flair. Flair naturally did not take it seriously. He paid the price. Flair was attacked by Terry Funk and brutalized and pile-drived several times, resulting in injuries, setting up the famous feud between Funk and Flair.
All right, how about the Super Card of the year, John?
Super Card of the year was Ragin' Cajun. Ragin' Cajun featured another Flair Steamboat match. It was 2 out of 3 falls. This was some of the most intense wrestling I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen quite a bit. This match had it all. You know, it had the theatrics, it had the showdown. It was, you know, it was just great.
If you want pure wrestling, this was the match to see. As I remember Jim Ross quoting, "When you turn over and you see 2 men that's been going at it for 50 minutes, you know it's the NWA. They don't come out to rock and roll music. It's just strictly wrestling."
We wrestle, that's his comment.
That's what Jim Ross said.
And this is a historic match in another point, certain point. This is one of the only matches I can remember that Ric Flair submitted to a wrestling hold.
Yes, he submitted to the double chicken wing.
Yeah.
That is the only man to make Ric Flair submit. That's a piece of trivia for you. And that was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my entire life. All right, and while we're on the subject of Promoter of the Year, let's get right to that.
All right, runners-up include Jerry Jarrett, Joe Blanchard, and Ted Turner. This leaves the Promoter of the Year. You gotta love him, you gotta hate him at the same time, Vince McMahon.
Yes, and I understand a couple of our readers want us to do a McMahon feature, and that will be coming up on future issues. All right. For the most promising wrestler of the year, John, how about that?
All right, most promising, we have Brian Pillman, who shows quite a bit of promise. But is he too small to be competing in NWA successfully, Jeff? And a man that has the most promise of all the wrestlers I've seen here, but he didn't place much higher than I expected him to. That would be Lex Luger. And the next man on our list would be Sting, Steve Borden. Although he really doesn't have that much promise to me because he can't defeat Great Muta. What's the deal? And the most promising wrestler, one of your favorite wrestlers, if not the favorite wrestler of yours, and one of mine, I gotta like this guy, Scotty Steiner.
All right, Scott Steiner's winning quite a bit of awards here. And that was most promising, Scott Steiner. For the most improved wrestler of the year, the number 3 runner-up, making appearances in several areas, namely USWA, CWA, Jeff Jarrett, son of Jerry. And the number 2 runner-up is Kendall Windham, son of
Blackjack Mulligan.
Yes, Blackjack Mulligan. And the first runner-up for the most improved wrestler is Lex Luger, leaving the most improved. I can't believe this, John. I didn't even vote in this category. Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner with 4 awards so far. Can you believe that?
Scott Steiner sweeping the awards, literally.
All right. All right, John, let's run down the big champions title defenses this year. Let's start out with the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Demolition.
Well, Jeff, Demolition are no longer the champions. Haku and Andre the Giant pulled off one of the upsets of the year, if you ask me. They defeated Demolition. They dominated Demolition.
Let's talk about Demolition's defenses early in the year. They defended against many teams. The Powers of Pain as one. Powers of Pain putting up a fight, but they still couldn't edge Demolition. And the first team of the year, the Demolition, lost their titles to
the Brainbusters.
Brainbusters, which was a rightful change. I feel they deserve the tag team titles. And recently, due to contractual disagreements with Vince McMahon, the Brainbusters left, and Demolition defeated them for the title, which brings us up to what you just said, the colossal connection of Andre the Giant and Haku defeating Demolition.
Haku, listen to me.
What does this hold for the future of the World Wrestling Federation tag team titles?
Well, with champions like the Colossal Connection, I say they're ripe for the picking. They just won the dang thing, but I see them losing it in the near future.
Who will they lose it to, John?
Well, it won't be the Rockers. They're too small. It won't be the Rougeaus because they're no longer there. It won't be the Bushwhackers because they don't have the skills. It won't be the Powers of Pain because they're rule breakers. I think Demolition has the best shot of regaining the titles.
That's who I'd pick. Alright, how about the AWA World title?
Well, we've got Wayne Bloom and Mike Enos, the Destruction Crew, who recently fired Johnny Valiant on TV, which is hard to believe, but it happened. Well, there's only one team that could really defeat the Destruction Crew. Both men are wrestling in the AWA, but they're currently feuding with each other. That would be Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka, formerly Bad Company, former AWA champions. If these two men reunite, I could see them defeating Bloom and Enos. But as it is, I don't see anybody there to beat them.
Tara Rangans and Brad Rangans are wrestling the independent circuits, so they really have no chance of defeating them.
Really, Bloom and Enos have no competition. This team of David Casper and Ricky Rice, Brute Force, they haven't been together long enough to defeat them. Really, they have no competition. I'd say they remain champions.
I'd say Diamond and the Trooper have a good chance of defeating him, as I talked about on the last issue. I think they could defeat Bloom and Enos. They've done it on TV, but it was an illegal pin, so the decision was reversed. But
that was a fluke.
They pinned them.
That was a fluke.
All right, how about the NWA tag team titles?
Well, you got two guys, namely the Steiners, Rick and Scott. They are dominating the tag team scene there. I don't see them wrestling the Road Warriors on a regular basis unless the Warriors do a turn. Skyscrapers, I don't know who the new member is going to be, so I can't say that they will. The Freebirds don't wrestle together very often anymore. Really, they don't really have that much competition, really.
Freebirds recently wrestled the Steiners, and Norman took a photo of one of the Freebirds using an illegal object, and they did get the pin on the Steiners, but Norman had the photo and he handed it to the referee, and the decision was reversed. The Steiners kept their titles.
I don't think it'll be Doom either. Doom is basically falling out of the scene. I really don't know who will beat the Steiners. The only team that really could beat them would, well, I wouldn't say the Samoans either. I'd say the Warriors, but I don't see that match coming about.
Got the Rock and Roll Express.
I don't see them wrestling each other. See fan favorite teams, Jeff. Midnight Express, possibly.
Well, the Road Warriors held that title earlier in the year, losing it to Steve Williams and Mike Rotundo of the Varsity Club.
We're no longer together, so you can't include them.
Well, John, how about the Dynamic Dudes? Midnight Express.
Situation?
Anything.
Well, as you know, the Dynamic Dudes and the Midnight Express are feuding. They recently had a match where Jim Cornette was tricked into wrestling. Shane Douglas of the Dudes signed the contract. He thought it was a match between the Dudes and the Midnight Express. It turned out to be a singles match between Shane Douglas and Jim Cornette. I understand there was some controversy involved there. Cornette defeated Shane Douglas, and Shane was so disgusted he wanted to leave the NWA, but they reshot the scene. I know this sounds kind of iffy here, but they shot the scene with a different ending. Cornette was defeated, and Shane Douglas was booed heavily. Cornette tried everything he could possibly do to be the villain in the situation, but they booed Shane Douglas and they cheered him. I find that hilarious.
I like it. I definitely, I do not like the Dynamic Dudes. The gimmick.
The gimmick stinks, guys. You're great wrestlers. You're good. You're well built for wrestling. You've got some good moves. Get rid of the skateboards. Get rid of those striped, whatever, tight pants you wear, trunks. Get you some normal tights. You know, you can expect the Rock and Roll. You can respect the Rock and Roll Express when they first started, they were pretty boys, but still, they weren't exactly wimpy, you know what I mean? The dudes have a wimpy image, and it does not help them. The fans recognize this, so they boo them resoundingly, and I think it's not really their fault, just the gimmick they have.
Yes, well,
even though you also have to recognize the fact that they're wrestling the Midnight Express, and Midnight Express, even though they're now villains, are one of the most popular tag teams anywhere.
It's hard to understand, but if this was the WWF, I think the Dynamic Dudes would be a top team.
Perhaps they should go there.
All right, now let's get on to these singles belts. Starting out with the bottom, USWA World Champion Jerry Lawler. He won the title, defeating Kerry Von Erich back in December.
Well, that's right. But I gotta tell you, I think Kerry could possibly beat him if they had another match. Dutch Mantel knows.
Let me stop you there. They recently had a title unification match. To unify what? I don't know. Texas title versus the unified title. Lawler pinned Von Erich, and now he's a triple champion. Well, actually quadruple, but what's it unify? He was already the world champion over Texas. It doesn't really mean anything.
Well, I have to agree with you, but Von Erich has the skill to beat Lawler. He's done it before. I think Dutch Mantel can defeat Jerry Lawler because Dutch Mantel's wrestling so many times, he knows the man inside and out, literally, as well as Bill Dundee did for him.
But
Eric Embry is another contender who could possibly defeat Jerry Lawler for one of the lesser titles in Texas.
We saw Lawler lose his title twice this year for Master Pain.
And Dutch Mantel.
Yes, Dutch Mantel, that's 3. And he also lost it to the Soul Taker.
Yeah.
2 green rookie wrestlers.
And one veteran wrestler.
And if this keeps up, Lawler will not be champion. He's the same age as Flair, but look who's more aggressive.
Flair's in better shape, for one thing. They're both 40. Well, Flair's 39, he'll be 40 in February. Lawler turned 40 in November. But that's not really old for a professional wrestler. Look at Bill Dundee. He's 47 years old. He still dominates most of the wrestlers he faces.
I think Lawler should become more aggressive. You look at Flair, you look at Lawler. Who is the better worker? Flair goes 60 minutes. Lawler can go 60 minutes.
Well, you saw that match at Evansville between him and Dundee. Would you care to describe it for our readers?
All it was a bunch of yelling and screaming by Lawler, putting down the fans. Actually, about 4 minutes of wrestling out of a 20-minute match that took place. It's
disappointing to say the least. I was in Florida at the time, but when I got back and you told me about it, I was pretty well disgusted.
All right. How about the AWA title? What's the status of that early in the year?
Well, Larry Zbyszko won the stupid world title, their version of the world title, in a battle royal. He ousted Mr. Tom Zink, the Z-Man, out of the ring to win the battle royal. He has dominated the title ever since then, but against not a very competition. You know, the main man I think can beat him now would be Sergeant Slaughter if you can get him in there, or possibly Nikita Koloff.
All right. Lawler was denied the right to participate in that prestigious battle royal, so therefore he could not regain his own title.
He's banned from the AWA for life.
All right, the World Wrestling Federation started out the year with Randy Savage as world champion.
Well, we all know who defeated Mr. Savage. That would be Hulk Hogan. Who can beat Hulk Hogan? That's a dang good question. I don't know. I don't like the man, but you got to respect what he's done. He's dominated everybody he's wrestled. Possibly Ultimate Warrior could defeat him, Jeff. But other than that, I don't think anybody. Kurt Hennig provides a good challenge, but I don't think he's big enough. True, he has the skills, he has the speed, he has the knowledge, but he's just not big enough to overcome a monster like Hulk Hogan.
I think the Warrior can beat him too. I'm going to go with the Warrior this coming year. All right, John.
Maybe nobody will beat him, Jeff.
I don't know. All right, John. It's time for the Big 7 awards, top-notch awards of 1989, the big year-end special of Cassette Wrestling News.
All right. Our next category would be Comeback of the Year. All right, coming in, we have the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, who came back from that serious neck injury inflicted by Terry Funk. Followed by Hulk Hogan, who came out of nowhere, defeated the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and has dominated everybody since then.
After him, we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who also came out of nowhere, defeated the great Nature Boy Ric Flair for the world title. He didn't hold it long, but the fact is he did hold it. And the man who gets comeback of the year, your friend and mine, Terry Funk.
The man, 45 years old, in phenomenal shape. I watched Paradise Alley last night, and I tell you, that was a movie made in the late 70s, and Terry Funk looked older then
than he does now.
Yes, and if you look at his shape, how many men that are 45 years old can say, look at this, I'm in tremendous shape? John, I know I can't.
Well, I don't think I can either, but you look at some of these particular men who get in their late 40s, men like Funk, men like Nick Bockwinkel, men who keep themselves in great cardiovascular conditioning, lift the weights religiously, and the results pay off in the ring. Terry Funk was one of the best wrestlers to compete in NWA. He gave his all. The fans hated him, but still they respected him. You gotta admire what this man did. He went in there night after night, literally, facing the top wrestler in the world. Would you want to go in night after night and face those chops in the chest? I wouldn't.
Seems after a while the chops would go right through you and you'd be laying in an ambulance, I'm telling you.
I swear, at the New York knockout, Flair chopped him so hard I thought his heart was going to fly out the back of his chest.
Scary. You have to be there live to appreciate those chops. Terry Funk, comeback of the year, now for the most inspirational. Number 3 runner-up. The man was brutally stabbed from ear to ear. He had his throat cut by an escaped mental patient in Japan. He's holds a high political office seat there, and his name is Antonio Inoki, and he made a comeback. He came back after his throat was slit, and he said, I'm all right, I'll be okay. You got to respect the man for doing that, John.
He's one of the greatest Japanese, if not the greatest Japanese wrestler ever laced the boots. He's retired now. He holds a position in Japan, but Antonio Inoki, one of the top runners-up.
All right, the second runner-up, you also got to respect this man for restoring the dignity,
law and order,
back to the Texas area. Eric Embry, the second runner-up.
The man who single-handedly fought off General Skandar Akbar's entire army.
All right, and one man that came back restored his family pride by winning the NWA crown. The Dragon, Ricky Steamboat.
Hats off to the Dragon.
I tell you, my rear end was on the edge of my seat in those matches between Flair and Steamboat, and they got me back into wrestling. They made me take notice and say, NWA, they wrestle.
Hey, it's great.
All right. And the most inspirational wrestler of 1989. Give us a little background on that, John.
Well, when he first came over here, everybody thought, God, this is the most evil, most awesome man I've ever seen in my life wrestling. That being Nikita Koloff. But Magnum TA was involved in an auto accident, nearly lost his life, lost his wrestling career, as a matter of fact. Nikita respected the man. He was feuding with him at the time. He respected it. He dedicated his wrestling career from that point on to Magnum TA Terry Allen. By the way, congratulations to Terry Allen, who was recently married. Well, that's beside the point anyway. But we also understand that this is a sad story. I don't like talking about it. I have great respect for Nikita Koloff, but he got married to Mandy Smithson, and she was diagnosed before they even got married as having Hodgkin's disease. Nikita knew that the chances that she would survive would be slim to none, but he married her anyway because he loved her, and that's what marriage is all about. She passed away recently, and our heartfelt wishes go out to Mr. Nikita Koloff, and he gets Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year.
Hopefully, he will win the AWA crown from Larry Zbyszko.
He certainly deserves it. This man's he's been through a lot. He's still young. If he can get back into the fighting shape, and if he didn't, we would understand. He's gone through quite a bit.
What is Cassette Wrestling News' Jeff Osborne doing now? Please visit Secret Headquarters in Evansville, Indiana, 4225 North 1st Ave, Evansville, Indiana, or call Jeff at 812-470-8546. From vintage toys, video games, and comics to a full retro 80s video arcade. They also have the final destination, new and used vinyl records. Drop on in and get something to spin. Follow them on Facebook at The Secret Headquarters.
Memphis Wrestling is back and better than ever. Sunday, May 1st, the Man Beast Rhino returns to Memphis Wrestling to go one-on-one with the 387-pound K-Toomer. Do not miss this epic battle. Get your tickets right now at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. May 8th is our next free watch party at Dave & Buster's in Memphis. Watch WWE WrestleMania Backlash with us. It's free. Plus, we'll give you a free power card. May 29th is huge. Not only is our next live TV taping then, but it's also our next AEW watch party at Dave & Buster's. When Memphis Wrestling is finished, head over to Dave & Buster's to watch AEW Double or Nothing absolutely free. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling is on tour with the following events. That's right, they return to Doniphan, Missouri, April the 30th for Clash on the Current 2. That's the Doniphan High School, 5 Ballpark Road. For ticket information, call 573-776-3548. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. It is a hostile takeover on May 7th, Luxor, Arkansas, at the Charles Strong Center. For ticket information, call 636-232-3313. Tickets are $12 at the door and $10 in advance. American Hostile Championship Wrestling on tour will include Rude, Chris Hayes, Trent Daniels, Jason Vaughn, the Young Goats, Denzel Rollins, The Posse, Derek the King, Mark Southern Jr., Big Jag Parker, Justin Case, Austin the Reaper Bolo, the LA Hustlers, Cookie St. James, Brett Michaels the Gun Show, Van Vicious, and many, many more. Memphis Wrestling and American Hostile Championship Wrestling superstars. Follow American Hostile Championship Wrestling on Facebook by searching American Hostile Championship Wrestling. Cards are subject to change. This episode is also brought to you by SpunkLube.com. Remember, when you're getting funky like a monkey, if you know what I mean, use Spunky. That's right. Go to www.spunklube.com and tell them STS Pod sent you. You want the best, you got the best. The best little wrestling podcast in the business. All episodes on www.stspod.club. Did you enjoy that episode? Cash App us at $BTSTS. If you've never downloaded the Cash App, download it today. You'll get a free, that's right, a free $5 for using the code $BTSTS. That's $BTSTS. Hey, that was another great episode of Shooting the Shiznit. Thank you for listening, and thank you to all our sponsors. A big shout out to Bob McGee at Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets. Remember, you can reach us on Twitter at ComicBookMarkBT, Instagram at BT Shooting the Shizit. That's right, Shooting the Shizit without a G. Facebook Shooting the Shiznit, and Facebook Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk. If we don't like you in that group, first you have to ask to get in. If we don't like you, we'll kick you out. All of the episodes are at one place, and that's www.stspod.club. Podcast Roll Call. Who's Right Podcast. Homeboys Podcast. E3 Radio, my buddies Richard and Josh. My World with Conrad Thompson and my friend Jeff Jarrett. Lance's favorite include Nickology, Rock Solid, Playlist Wars, I'm Bad Podcast. Hey guys, remember, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.